In this video, I will discuss some characteristics of searching in the UTEP Library online catalog, how to cite your sources and create a bibliography in a bibliographic management tool, as well as recommend a criteria for evaluating sources. To get to the UTEP Library homepage, you could Google it, or from the UTEP homepage, you can go to the left and select Library. Another way would be to type in the host name into the URL box, and it is libraryweb.utep.edu. The UTEP Library Online Catalog has 5 search boxes divided into 4 tabs. The first tab we'll look at is Books and Journals. The Books and Journals tab has 2 search boxes. We'll start with the top one. You type in your search terms and then click search. And let's say you're looking for books only. Notice that it gave you 149 results, and everything from ebook, book, and it also gives you a lot of other things like videos and journals in one list. To narrow it down by physical books, you use the limiters on the left. So let's say I only want books, and it tells you how many books there are in the results. So from 149 it goes to 87. If you want electronic books, you would click on ebook, and depending on the vendor, you would have to either create an account or just log in. So in this case, it's letting us see this book in the browser. And some vendors allow printing and saving of chapters. It doesn't seem like this one does, however. Notice that my results were not listed chronologically. To sort them by publication year, you can use the publish date limiter on the left. And if you click on more, it'll give you more years. You can also narrow it down by place of publication. So if you only want to look at books that were published in the United States, you can click on your option. You can also click on the course title if your professor put a book on reserve at the library for you to look at. You can narrow it down by professor, and tags. The way I like to describe tags is if you have a Facebook and you upload images, when you add a description, that's a tag. Librarians do the same thing, but we use very specific terms. And if you click on these terms, for example, Mexican Americans, it's like running a new search, and it gave me 93 results. So if we click on a title, we'll look at the parts. This is the title, and it'll give you the author name or the editor. It tells you the place of publication, the publisher, and the year of publication. Another thing to look at is the location. This one is located on the internet. This one, the call number, it doesn't have a call number because it's an electronic book. It says it's available. To view this electronic book, you would click on to access this resource, and it popped it up here, and it's the same one we looked at before. You can also narrow down your results by location. We have several locations in the UTEP library. For example, the main stacks are everything that you can check out from the 3rd floor to the 5th floor. Microforms and media are located on the 1st floor, and that's everything that's been converted into either a microfilm or a microfiche, which is basically just a film, and they have special machines that you can read them on. It's pretty ancient technology from the 70s. They also have a reserve desk that's on the 2nd floor, circulation desk, and those are books that your professor would put on hold for you to look at for 2 to 3 hours. Special collections are archives and other rare collections that are located on the 6th floor, and they do have a Southwest and Chicano collection. Those don't usually check out, but you can ask them for copies. We also have other locations that are not listed here. For example, the children's collection, and we have a legal collection on the 3rd floor. So now let's look at a physical book. Let's say I want this physical book. You click on it and it'll give you the location, main stacks. That's if you click on it, it'll tell you, it'll give you the site location map. And the other thing to look at is the call number, which is the book address. It always starts with a letter. So if it's E, it's located on the 3rd floor. And you need this whole number to locate it. And it tells me it's available. Let's say you want a physical book, but it's currently checked out. For example, this one. It says it's due next year. There's an option to request it. If you click on that, you'll have to sign in. And it's like a waiting list. It'll tell you your place on the waiting list. However, we can't place a book on hold for you. So if there's a book and it's not checked out and you want somebody to go retrieve it and put it on hold for you, unfortunately we can't do that. However, you can be on a waiting list if it's checked out. We are still looking at in the Books and Journals tab. Now I'm going to discuss the EDS search box. This is a new box that we just implemented a few months ago. And the neat thing about this search box is that it'll let you look up article titles without having to find the journal title first. And it'll also let you cite a variety of materials very easily. For example, let's say that I have a citation for this article that I want to look at. I would copy the title, and then I would go back to this EDS box and paste it. And EDS just means EBSCO Discovery Service. So you would click search, and now it'll find it by the article title, and you could also search by full text. So let me show you how to cite it. If you click on it, there are tools on the right. You can print it, email it, save it, and cite it. So if you click on cite, it'll give you all these options in different citation styles. I should also mention the advanced search option. If you're looking for a book by author, you can click on advanced search and search by keyword, any keywords in the title, the actual title, the subject, for example, horror versus fiction, and the author. And you could even add more search boxes. The EBSCO Discovery Service advanced search box will give you this blank screen with a lot of limiters that you can use. Location, these are all the locations in the UTEP Library. Language, you could even search by author, title, dates, and you can add Boolean operators. Now we'll move on to the second tab to find articles and databases. Here you can find databases using the drop-down list to search by subject. For example, if you're looking for Chicano studies, you would click on Chicano study if it's listed, and then click search, and this will filter out all the databases that have to do with Chicano studies, and we see we have 84. You would read the description to see if it includes what you're looking for, and the other thing that you want to look at is the coverage dates. So this one goes back to 1865 until today. Another way to look for articles and databases is by using the alphabetical listing. So for example, if you know the name of the database, like Academic Search Complete, you can go to A and then wait until your results are listed and then read the results. And we see that it's number 1, so you can click on it and then click again to link to the database, and we're actually in the database now. And if you can use Academic Search Complete, you can pretty much figure out how to use a lot of other databases because they have pretty similar functions. EBSCO is the vendor or provider that makes Academic Search Complete. The EBSCO makes a lot of databases, so you're going to see a lot of databases that look like this. Academic Search Complete is a pretty good database to start learning about databases since it's multidisciplinary, which means it includes a lot of subjects. Let's run a quick search. So you can type in your search terms and choose these Boolean operators. The thing you have to remember about these is that AND usually reduce your results or expands your results, and using NOT excludes anything that you wrote here. Other features of this search page is you can limit it by full text, which will give you the whole article, but I don't recommend using that because some articles are linked to other databases and you don't want to miss out on that. You can narrow it down by scholarly peer-reviewed journals to find more authoritative texts. You can narrow it down by the document type, including single book chapters, a case study, an interview, a letter, a poem, literary criticism, speech. You can narrow it down by number of pages, charts, diagrams, PDF, full text, language, publication type. They have books, newspaper articles. You might even find some videos in here. You can narrow it down by publication date. So let's click search. And it gave me 15 results. So let's say that you are interested in this one. So notice that you have several options. You can send it to the cloud, but you probably have to create an account. I've never used this. However, the most important thing you want is either an option that says HTML or PDF full text. So let's click on this one that has PDF full text, and notice that it gave me the entire thing. You can download it using this arrow on the top right. You can print it using these icons on the right. Email it to yourself. You can put it in a temporary folder, and you can also cite it. If you click on it, it'll give you the citation options. When it doesn't have that option, it'll give you this icon, which it'll give you the web bridge. So if you click on full text, it won't show this. These will disappear because they're not full text. So let's say I want this one. It didn't give me the full text, but you would click on check for this item at the UTEP Library, and it opens up the web bridge, and it tells you that it's available in this database, Science Direct, and then it gives you a description of the database and the coverage dates. So you would click on that or open it in a new tab, and hopefully it'll link to it. If it doesn't, it did in this case. If it didn't, you would type in the title and then paste it into the search box, and then click search, and then you'll look for it in the results. Let's say that it didn't link me directly. What you can do is look for the actual journal title, which is what I'll show you next. Now we're going to move on to the third tab, the eJournals tab, to find articles. This is a long way to find articles. You remember the short way to find articles? It's the EDS search box. You'll just type in the title. But now let's say that I have a citation for this article, and I'm going to look for it by journal title. So you always want to look in where it was published in. So it was published in the Archives of Medical Research. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go to the eJournals tab, and it gives you several options. You can search for the title, something that equals the title, words that might be included in the title, and even the number assigned to the article. to the journal title. You can also search by A to Z list, and you can browse by subject. So I know the title, and I'm going to paste it and then click search. And we see that it's available in one database, and we see the years of coverage. So in our citation, we see that it was published in 2012. So it does include it. I'm going to click on the link to the database, and while it's loading, I'm going to copy the title of the article. Now, once in the actual database that has the journal title, I'm going to paste the title of my article and click search. So I'm going to paste the title of the article into the search box, and I'm going to press search, or the search button. And we see that it did pull it up, and notice that it did give me the PDF. Click on that, and there you go. Now we're going to move on to the fourth search tab to look at research guides. Research guides are like roadmaps for your classes. Not every class has this. Let's look for cultural diversity in youth, for example. We'll click search, and we see that it is listed. And if you click on it, you're going to see Johnny Depp's contact info. No, actually, that's just me, your librarian. You can contact me, you can email me, call me, or visit me at the UTEP Library. We also have information here on the latest Chicano studies news from several sources, including UCLA and the Huffington Post, for example. We have quick library how-to videos, including how to use some social media. We have information on RefWorks on how to use this bibliographic citation tool, and it'll take you through all the characteristics of it. I have some recommended resources, including books, journals, and other internet resources. I have information on immigration. I have a tutorial on how to use the library here. I have some information on how to cite sources in APA. And I have a tab on with a video on how to use Weebly, which is a social media tool to create a website. I should also mention remote access. And I'm not talking about having control over the television. I'm talking about how to access resources from home electronically. So there's two ways to do that. If you go to library services and you go to need help, database remote access, it'll take you to this page. By default, when you're looking for a video or an electronic article, it'll give you this page, the proxy, which is just a login page. When you log in, it'll let you access the resource, but it'll kick you out after about 10 minutes. If you're watching a video or listening to music, we have music available in our databases. It'll just freeze on you after 10 or 15 minutes. So I don't recommend using the proxy. I recommend downloading the VPN, which is the virtual private network. And there's two options. If you're a Windows user like I am, you just download a little application, and it'll let you log in to the UTEP Library once, and it won't kick you out. You only have to log in once, and you can access pretty much everything. If you're a Mac user, it's just a setting that you configure on your device. Also, the class library guide has more information on that if you need it. Two more things I should mention about the catalog is interlibrary loan services, which is when we don't have a book or an item, you can request it from another library. So if you go to library services for students, interlibrary loan, and then click on Iliad, you sign up, you create an account, and then you can request articles and other materials from other libraries, and the cost is only 50 cents. Another thing I should mention is a writing center. We do have a writing center which is located inside the library. If you can't attend physically, you can make an appointment with them. So if you go to About Partners University Writing Center, and you can actually consult with them online. So if they have an online consultation option on the top banner here, and you can select your time that you want to consult with, and you do have to check the dates because they're pretty much booked all the time. So there you go. The second thing on our video agenda is how to use RefWorks, a bibliographic management tool which UTEP subscribes to. When I was going to college, I used a citation machine, and then they came out with Son of Citation Machine. Well, this is a service that UTEP pays for, and you can find it by going to the Articles and Databases tab, going to R, scrolling down to RefWorks, which is number 6. You click on it, and you click again, and it'll take you to RefWorks. You have to be signed on to your UTEP account in order for it to recognize that it's UTEP. So if you click on sign up for a new account, it should recognize that you're accessing it through UTEP. UTEP pays for this account, so it's free to you as long as you're a UTEP student. So I'm going to log in. So my account is blank. The first thing I'm going to show you is how to create a folder to store your citations in. You're going to use a new folder tab. So you click on it, and then you type in the title of your course or the general topic. Click create, and now it should appear on the list under folders. So you see it here, it has 0 citations still. You can right click it and delete it or rename it if you don't like it. So let's say that I'm looking for articles in the UTEP library catalog, and I found one that I like, and I want to keep this citation or even this article for a long time, or at least for the length of my project. So if you click on it and use the tools on the right, you see that there's an export tool. If you click on that, it'll give you the options to export it in different formats. You can export it to EasyBib, EndNote. We want RefWorks. So you click on Direct Export to RefWorks, save, and now it's importing it. And if we see View Last Imported Folder, we see that all this is a bibliographic information, but that's not a citation yet. It's just the information. To move it to your folder, you select it, and then in this tool, in this little icon that has a plus sign, you select the folder that you want to put it in. So we're going to put it in Chicano Studies. It says that it's complete, and now on the right we see that Chicano Studies has this citation. To create a bibliography, you select your bibliographic files, and then you go to the bibliography tool in the ribbon, and then create bibliography. And I'm going to select APA 6th edition for my citation style. I want it as a HTML file so I can view it very quickly in my tab, create bibliography, and here it is. And then you could just copy and paste that into your reference list. You can also create a reference by typing it in. So if you go to the reference tab, add new, it'll give you the option to create a citation for different types of materials, including books, journal articles, and even videos or web pages. So let's select journal article, and you can type in all that information located in your article into the boxes. And notice that it has a browse box. That is because when you import a citation, it doesn't import the actual article. To do that, you would actually have to download the article first, and then you would have to upload it using this feature, the browse box. And then you could save the actual citation in the article potentially for years. Let's say that you already have a citation for an article, but now you want to import the actual article. So you download it, you can save it to your desktop, and then you would use the edit icon to upload your article, which is this little icon with the paper and the pencil on it. So if you click on that, it'll give you the option to not only edit your citation, but it'll actually give you the upload browse button. And now you can upload any file that you want and store it in your citation. The third thing I want to cover in this video is how to use the criteria to evaluate online sources. And you can find this criteria by going to your class homepage, going to the main section, and going to the library material page, and it's under evaluating sources. So if you click on that, it'll give you this checklist with 5 criteria. The first one is authority, and by that I mean who is the author or the organization who created the content. For example, if you're looking at a scholarly article that you found through the UTEP Library, you want to see who the authors are. And in this case, we see that they're all credentialed, and we even see what schools or universities they're affiliated with. Sometimes it even gives you their biography. In this case, you can even contact them and email them. If you're looking at an online article that's clearly marked opinion, the authority, the person could still be an authority even though they're giving an opinion. So for example, if you click on the author's name and we click on more, we see that they are credentialed because they've done work advising presidents, and we see their other career highlights. So remember that authority is contextual. So depending on what kind of thing you want, you might, if you're doing research on very technical things, scientific things, and you really want somebody who's credentialed. If you just want an opinion, then you might go to a reliable source, like a journalistic source like the New York Times. If you're looking for current news, remember that it takes months or years for information to become processed and turn into an article. It goes through a vetting process, which means that other people look at the article and they read it and they check it out and they even test what the claims are. And so it takes a long time to get published in an academic article, and it takes less time to get published in a magazine or a newspaper, and it goes through. It doesn't go through a committee usually. It just goes through an editor usually, and sometimes it doesn't even go through an editor, and sometimes articles don't even have authors to them. So make sure to look at that. And also, some current news doesn't really go through any sort of vetting process. So if you're looking for a recent news, you might go to a Twitter account and the author would just be somebody who's at the scene. The second thing we want to look at is accuracy. So accuracy just means, is the information complete? Can the information be supported by evidence or confirmed by other sources? And notice that academic articles usually give you a reference list so you can go and check their claims, whereas newspaper articles usually don't have a reference section. Sometimes it has links to other sources, but it usually don't have reference section. Has the information been reviewed or referred? Well, in this case, it was probably referred or reviewed by an editor. So, for example, if we're looking for accuracy, we want to know if it's true or not. So let's say that you run into this article: Cookie Monster mugs kids in Times Square. Well, is this accurate? If you see the Weekly World News, they advertise themselves as the world's only reliable news. Well, that's a big claim right there, so it might not be accurate. The third thing you want to look at is objectivity, which means what kind of agenda do they have? Are they trying to persuade you to buy something? Are they trying to inform you, teach you, sell you something, entertain you, or persuade you? Is the information fact or opinion, propaganda or satire? And in this case, we see that it's probably satire, and they're probably trying to entertain me. And so clearly they're making fun of something that's family friendly and wholesome. In this case, it's clearly marked as opinion, and they are perhaps trying to persuade you not to vote for Donald Trump. In this case, the academic journal, that's going to be harder to decide whether they're biased or not. You just have to really read into it. They give you the purpose, and mainly the purpose is to inform you or to educate you. The fourth thing I want to talk about is currency, and I'm not talking about cash. I'm talking about how recently was it published. So the more recent the information, usually the more reliable or the more accurate. So here we see that this was published in 2016. You always want to look at when it was published. Sometimes it doesn't give you the date. Websites usually have more information way on the bottom, and it'll tell you when it was last updated. The fifth thing I want to talk about is relevance, and relevance just has to do with, does it fit your research questions? So depending on what kind of information you want, the relevance will change. So if you want very accurate information that has to do with a very technical or academic subject, then you probably want academic journals and articles. If you're just doing some research on satire in the news, then you probably want something like this. If you want opinion, then you would go to opinion, and so forth. So that relevance changes depending on what you want. So now let's go to this web page, which is called Zombie Preparedness. So you can use the criteria to evaluate it. So let's start with authority. The authority is the author. So who authored this? We see that it's the Center for Disease and Control and Prevention. And we could also look at the URL. It ends in .gov, which is for government, and those are only for government websites. Some websites and URLs end in .edu, which is for education. You could also end up on a website that ends up with .com, which is a company. And companies usually want to sell you or persuade you to do something, to buy something usually, or to think a certain way. So here we can go through the criteria. So authority, we know that it's a government website. Accuracy, is the information verified? Is it complete? Has it been reviewed? Well, here we see that it's about zombies. Zombies don't exist, but so it's not really accurate, because they have a zombie blog, an educator website on zombie preparedness, even a novella. However, if we look at their statement, we see that they're using this tongue-in-cheek campaign to inform audiences about preparedness. So they're basically trying to inform you about a topic through entertainment. So they're trying to inform you through entertainment. The third thing is objectivity. So what is the purpose? The purpose is to inform. Currency. So usually it's if it's not on the top, it'll tell you in the bottom when it was last updated. So this is fairly recent. And relevance. Well, it'll probably be relevant to you if you're doing research on preparedness campaigns that the government uses to reach populations. And so hopefully this criteria will be useful to you. There are other criteria, so look around because there's several ways to evaluate resources.